Hi guys. So what I want to talk about today is something that is not easy. I want to talk about forgiveness after betrayal. Because betrayal hits differently. It's not just about pain, it's not just about disappointment, and it's not just about someone making a mistake. Betrayal has weight to it because it makes you question what was real. It makes you look back at conversations, memories, promises, loyalty, trust, and suddenly start asking yourself, was I the only one being honest? Was I the only one showing up with a real heart? And when you find out the truth, there is a moment where the gravity lands on you. And you do not just feel hurt. You feel shocked, disrespected, confused, and you feel like something sacred was mishandled. And I think one of the hardest parts about betrayal is that it often comes from someone you did not expect it from. It comes from an enemy. Maybe, if it came from an enemy, maybe it would have hurt less. But when it comes from someone you cared about, trusted, loved, respected, and even believed in, that pain reaches a deeper place. But here's what I'm learning. Just because someone betrayed me does not mean that I have to betray myself. Just because someone acted out of fear, selfishness, weakness, pressure, bribery, insecurity, or whatever it may have been, it does not mean that I have to let their actions turn me into someone I am not. I can be disappointed and still choose peace. I can acknowledge the truth and still choose forgiveness. I can feel the pain and still refuse to let anger consume me. And I want to be very clear about something. Forgiveness does not mean that what they did was okay. Forgiveness does not mean that you are pretending it did not hurt. Forgiveness does not mean you are giving someone unlimited access to you again. Forgiveness does not mean that you have to reconcile, rebuild trust, or put yourself back into the same position where you can be hurt again. Sometimes forgiveness means I release a hold on what this was over my spirit, but I also accept the lesson that you showed me. And sometimes forgiveness can mean I wish you healing, but I will no longer abandon myself to understand you. I am not carrying hatred towards you, but I am not carrying the responsibility of what you choose. And that is where faith comes in. Because for me, I believe in a higher power. You can call it God, the universe, divine order, spirit, or whatever. Whatever language feels right to you. But I believe there is something greater than us that sees what we cannot see. And I believe there is higher justice. Not revenge, not bitterness, not wishing harm on another person, but balance. I believe energy has a way of returning to where it belongs. I believe that what is done in dishonesty eventually has to answer to truth. And I believe what is taken unfairly, manipulated, hidden, or corrupted cannot stay hidden forever. And because I believe that, I do not need to become consumed by rage. I do not need to choose payback, and I do not need to obsess over how the universe is going to handle something. My responsibility is not to become the judge of someone else's soul. My responsibility is to protect my own. And that is a very hard lesson. Because when you are betrayed, the first instinct is often anger. And honestly, anger is not something that is wrong. But sometimes anger is the part of you that still knows that you deserve better. Anger can be a messenger. It can say, that was not fair. That crossed a line. And it can also say, you cannot keep letting people treat you like this. But anger becomes dangerous when it moves from being a messenger into your master. Because anger starts controlling your thoughts, your choices, your energy, your sleep, your relationships, and your ability to love again. Then betrayal did not just hurt you. It starts shaping who you are. And I refuse to let someone else's broken choices become the author of my future. I refuse to let betrayal make me cold. and I refuse to let disappointment destroy my faith. I refuse to let someone else's lack of integrity take away my ability for loving, honesty, being open-hearted, and connected to the source, because that is the real victory. The real victory is not proving that they were wrong. The real victory is not making them suffer. The real victory is walking away from betrayal with my soul intact. With your heart wiser, not harder, with boundaries stronger, and love not weaker. With discernment clearer, and with spirit not darkened. And maybe that is what forgiveness really is. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is spiritual strength. It takes strength to say, yes, I saw what you did. Yes, I know the truth now. And yes, I am hurt. Yes, I am disappointed. But I will not let you lower my frequency. It takes strength to look at someone's actions and realize they may have acted out of fear, selfishness, pressure, from their own wounds, or from a place that they had nothing to do with, had nothing to do with my worth. And that part is important, because someone's betrayal does not get to define my value. Their inability to honor does not mean that they are not worth honoring. Their dishonesty does not mean that your honesty was foolish. And their selfishness does not mean that your kindness was weakness. It means they made a choice. And now you get to make one too. You get to choose whether this betrayal becomes your prison or your doorway. You get to choose whether this pain makes you bitter or more conscious. You get to choose whether you get to keep replaying what happened or begin reclaiming the energy that was trapped in the wound. And I think one of the most sacred places of healing is reclaiming your energy. At some point you have to say, I'm taking my peace back. I am taking my power back. I'm taking my mind back, my heart, and my future back. Because betrayal can make you feel like something was stolen from you. But forgiveness is how you stop giving that moment permission to keep stealing from you. And it may take you a while to get your peace back. And it may have shaken your confidence. And it may make you question some people. But that does not mean they get to take your destiny. It does not mean that they take your relationship with God or the universe or the source. And it does not mean that they get to take your ability to love. They do not get to take your light. And I want to say this to anybody listening who has been betrayed. You are allowed to grieve. You are allowed to be angry, and you are allowed to get disappointed. And you are allowed to admit that something broke inside of you. But do not stay broken for long. And do not choose to handle your heart with miscare. Do not build a home inside that wound. Do not let one person's betrayal convince you that everyone else is unsafe. Do not let one moment of dishonesty make you abandon the truth of who you are. Because healing does not mean that you were hurt. Healing means the hurt is no longer in control. Forgiveness does not get to erase the lesson. It completes it. It says, I understand now. I see what was needed to see. I know what I need to know. And I release myself from the emotional debt that was trying to make sense of someone else's poor choice. And there's peace in that. There's freedom in that. And there's power in trusting that this is not yours and it will return to where it belongs. The betrayal is not yours to carry forever. The guilt is not yours. The dishonesty is not yours. The selfishness is also not yours. And the fear that motivated them is not yours. What yours is healing. What yours is peace. And what yours is your relationship with the source, God, the universe, and yourself. What is yours is the decision to keep rising and take the higher road. So today, I choose forgiveness. Not because it was okay, and not because it didn't hurt. And not because trust magically makes things come back overnight, but because I deserve peace in more ways than I deserve than to keep drinking from one cup of somebody else's betrayal. I forgive because I will not let disappointment become my identity. I forgive because I will not let anger consume my heart or the parts of me that are still beautiful. And I forgive because I believe divine order sees everything. And I trust that the energy returns to its rightful place. And most of all, I forgive because my life is still mine. My heart is still mine. My future is still mine. My light is definitely still mine. So if you have been betrayed, I want you to remember this. You can forgive and still have boundaries. You can have love from a distance, and you can wish someone healing without giving them access. You can release resentment and stop denying reality. You can trust God without needing to control the outcome. You can move forward without carrying what someone else did as proof of who you are. Betrayal may reveal who someone else is, but healing reveals who you are. And you can walk through betrayal and still choose truth, compassion, wisdom, boundaries, and peace. And when you do that, you don't lose. You rose. And maybe that is the blessing hidden inside the pain. Not from what betrayed you or who betrayed you, but that through it you remembered how deeply protected, guided, and powerful you actually are. So today, I release the anger. I honor the lesson. I trust the higher power, and I choose peace. Because forgiveness is not me saying that they were right. Forgiveness is saying that they do not get to control my spirit anymore. And that is the message for today. I wish everybody love, happiness, prosperity. And for any of those who know that they've done wrong, I forgive you. I forgive you with my heart, and I wish you all the best. I really do.